Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tiger Tank 12, however you want to call me, I don't really care. And today, we're gonna be heading right back into World of Tanks with some very nice gameplay that I've actually recently just picked up in my AMX 5120, the tier 9 French heavy tank that actually is the predecessor to the AMX 50B. And I'm really excited to be very close to the AMX 50B. And I've decided, well, actually I'm gonna be making what to expect video of the AMX 5120 as soon as possible, because right now I am actually trying to get my third mark on this tank. I'm at 93%, and it is really difficult to keep up the high damage in games all over the place. But today we do not want to talk about the damage. There's just a nice little added bonus in this video. Today we want to talk about blaming other people, and this game is a perfect example of the World of Tanks community and how hypocritical the community actually is, and how people, when they make their own moves, make mistakes, blame other people after they're actually dead. This is one of the reasons why Wargaming actually have decided to take out the cross-game chat, because this feature, which actually most of the time it was a very nice feature to be talking to the enemy team, but sometimes I have to agree, enemy players or your colleagues on your team actually were kind of a little bit mad sometimes, and they babbled out and told the other guys of the position of other tanks because they were really upset about something. And that is why Wargaming actually taken out the chat to reduce the toxicity in the game, which I think now in retrospect I think it is still a little bit overkill to take out the entire chat, but I understand why they did it. But the thing is still that people are still getting upset, and one of the key things that I've seen in this game happen over and over and over and over again is that people are blaming each other. More specifically, a lot of dead people are blaming other people for their demise. And sometimes, well, you have to look at these scenarios all individually, because sometimes it is the truth, because someone was at a certain location and then all of a sudden, went AFK and didn't check, and the other guy died. Then the guy gets upset because the other guy is AFK, and all hell breaks loose, right? So in this particular game, you can see we actually are having an advantage right now. We just lost the advantage right now, actually. Our E50 just died to 3 tanks, and we are all having some problems. And right now you can see that we have some enemies that we have to take care of over here at close to their base. And if you look in chat, there's a Type 59 player who gets really upset later on in the game, and he's blaming particularly me because I've been alive for a very long time, and I myself, well, I did do some mistakes, or I committed some mistakes in this game, and one of the mistakes right here is being greedy. I did not go for the cap. We should have actually capped this out, and we would have had an easy win with 3 tanks on cap. But in my thought, I expected actually with this tank that I can actually flank around and kill the tank destroyers and heavy tanks over here. That was actually my first plan, but I noticed that our southern flank was going to fall, so I decided to actually go around and take out the IS-3 and the T-28 prototype. I decided that the IS-3 and the AMX 1390 should be able to hold off those 2 tanks over there and allow us, other heavy and medium tanks, the AMX 30 and the AMX 5120, which is me, to take on the other tanks. But all of this kind of is a bit tricky, because they have like 4 or 5 tanks that are almost all full HP, and you can see there the enemy team, props to the enemy team, they decided to go back to the base, and as you can see they're all very high with almost full HP. So I decide maybe we should just fall back, take a step back, because there are 5 tanks over there. We are actually 6 or 7 tanks, 6 tanks now, And I decide we should not push them because right now, with the HP that we have, I'm still full HP, this might not be the best decision. And this type 59 over here gets quite upset that we do not attack them. And as you can see, things get a little bit heated. I tell them we should not attack them, we should fall back and set up an ambush, because that is the way we can actually defeat these guys, because they have a HP advantage. But one of the things that I have noticed with people who are blaming other people in this game is that, well, once they are dead, or once they actually believe in the thing that they are saying, although sometimes it's not right, sometimes it's right, they will never falter from their argument. They will keep on bashing on that for as long as you're playing this game. They will not step down. They're really stubborn. People are really stubborn in this game, and that is one of the problems that we have. They do not want to see reason sometimes. And you can see that type 59 is actually really upset with this decision. Unfortunately, I tell the 1390 maybe that he should go over there to A6 or something like that, spot the enemy tanks, and we suddenly spot 2 heavy tanks on the southern part of the map. And I decide, well, actually, the T-54 cannot handle them himself, so I decide to go back to actually help him. And this is where all hell breaks loose. Type 59, he's really upset that we did not push. He's upset that he is dead, and he blames it all on me particularly and on the team. And I tell him that, well, we should not be attacking right now, since they have the obvious HP pool advantage. They have better armor and all that kind of stuff. They have more heavy tanks, they have an autoloader. It's really, really tricky to actually engage these guys. Maybe we should pick them off one by one. Unfortunately, the AMX 30 right there makes a big mistake, is too aggressive, goes up against that almost full HP M103 and gets taken out. Nothing we can do there, right? And this is one of the things right there. A lot of people who make their own decisions in this game or anywhere, as soon as they see that they have made a mistake, especially good players, they get really upset. And I myself sometimes am at fault too, because when you push way too far into enemy territory, if you're all by yourself and you expect to have friendly support, well, and you die all by yourself against like 3 other tanks, and you have driven very far away from your team, for example C3 or C4, then I think that is absolutely not the fault of your team. It is the fault of your own doing, because you decided to go there and you expected. That is one of the things that in World of Tanks you should never do. Never expect to have full backup, because that is just something that is never gonna actually... That is very rare in this game. Because all in all, people are playing for themselves. People are not playing for the team, because I do not know why, but people just are not really interested in helping out other guys, because they just want to get damage, they're greedy, and it's all that kind of stuff that ties into one big blob. And you can see the Type 59 is upset with me taking out that FE201, and he calls me a leftover picker. And you can just see I never expected these two guys to push that T-54 E1. Maybe I should have told them that this is a fully loaded E1, but all the time, every time I'm reloading, I put it in the chat, and this tank is a really, really special tank. This is a heavy tank that has no armor but a very punchy gun, but has no gun elevation or gun depression for that matter. And that is why you have to be really careful in this tank. And right now, it's a 3-on-4 situation. They have still more HP than us, and this Waffenträger of E100 is going into a very aggressive spot, and I am trying to support him by covering his flank, but as soon as I notice that the Waffenträger of E1 of Panzer IV actually decides to go up there with 51% HP left against 2 tier 9 heavy tanks, I just think that is not my fault that this guy actually decides to push. Why would he push with so much HP as a tank destroyer? And now I'm trying to support him without getting hit myself, because I mean, he is gonna be dead anyhow. Why should I die too? Our chances of losing the match are gonna go tenfold with that decision. And you can just see that the Waffenträger of Panzer IV, in my opinion, did make a huge mistake. He went up there against two tier 9 heavy tanks with only 51% HP left. And you can see he's starting to blame me as well, because, well, I tried to help him, but obviously I only have 4 rounds in my magazine. I cannot kill that T10 or the M103 in one clip, so I decided to fall back, having dealt 5,000 damage yet and 5 kills. Now, you can just see this Type 59 is going on and on, you know, complaining, being very unreasonable, and just taunting me and all that stuff. But I've noticed, I know such players, so I don't really react to those things. Eventually, after the game, I did actually react to it, and I wrote to him, because it was just a guilty pleasure that he only dealt, but you'll see, he only dealt 600 damage, and you'll see what I dealt in the end. So I decided to actually write to him, so that if he's not bringing the results, then maybe he should just not talk all the time. And you can see that Waffenträger of Panzer IV is upset as well, and you can see now that you have 2 people who are upset, 2 people who are very stubborn and did some very stupid things there, and decided to actually give this out of the hand quite easily. They decided to just, well, suicide for that matter, and reduce our chances of a victory. And right now, I'm deciding, well, I'm the tier 9 heavy tank right now with 890 HP. I'm deciding to actually, how am I going to engage these 2 tanks? There are 2 against 1. I'm an autoloader, but still 2 shots from these guys. If they roll high, they manage to kill me. So I am very cautious. And this 1390 as well, played it a little bit aggressively, was on the other side of the map, so that I could not really actively help him. I try, I move over, and this is almost one of the biggest mistakes that I commit, to move over here, because obviously now they have 2 tanks against 1. I am fully loaded, I have APCR rounds loaded in, but it just does not help me, because if these 2 guys actually decide to flank me, I'm gonna be in a really bad situation. So I decide, actually, it's only 2 minutes left, I decide to fall back, because I do have artillery piece, so if we can draw them out in the open, we can take them out. I obviously cannot write that in the chat, all the things that I'm planning to do, because it would just take too much time, and all the Type 59 and the Waffenträger of Panzer IV kind of interpret with this move is that I'm always running away. This is a French tank, it does not have a lot of armor, it does not have a lot of HP, I cannot soak up all the shots without getting killed. So I decided to play this tank really cautiously. I've played a lot of games in this tank, and I've realized that this tank is not one of the vehicles for the front line if you do not have support. And this Type 59 just doesn't get it. This guy has 35,000 games and he's still complaining. And I do not understand how people can actually be so stubborn in World of Tanks and complain and complain and complain and complain. And you can see right there, big misplay actually by me. They get up, and I actually decide to take out the M103. Unfortunately, right there, I only track 1 shell, and the T10, very nicely played by him, actually moves back, and he's able to finish me off. Unfortunately, the third shot, I did not penetrate, and the other shot just tracked the M103. And you can just see it right now. I'm getting quite upset that he's one of those players. I've done a lot of my work, and I tried to explain him as politely as possible that playing autoloaders is not as easy. And I'm telling him I usually don't pull this card, but I just pulled out the win rate card that with his 51% or with his 50% win rate, he's not gonna be the one talking right here. And unfortunately, we lose this game we draw it out with only 20 seconds remaining. And that is the problem in this game. People love to blame other people for their mistakes, their undoings, and that is one of the things that they need to keep in mind. And this is all over the place. Good players, bad players, who cares? Anyone actually loves to blame other players because in their eyes they are never wrong. And I just think that has something to do with the culture, and I think that has something to do with the culture of the. I'm not sure, but I think it's the culture of the United States, for that matter. That people always like to blame other people for their misery. It's never their own fault. That is one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of games when I met American people, that they are never at fault. It's always other people that are at fault. But it might just be that, but I have no idea. It's just really annoying because instead of helping you being a helpful hand in a game, they're actually just blocking out all the things, and they're just making time worse, making you angry, and all that kind of stuff. And that is just not one of the things that I want to see in World of Tanks. That's just not one of the things I want to see in life permanently. If you have done something wrong by yourself, stand by it. Don't blame other people. Obviously, blaming other people is easier than blaming yourself, but I think that is just one of the steps that the players need to do in case to make this community better. Realizing their own fault at certain times. It's really hard. I myself blame other people too sometimes. But if you start looking at the situation you've gotten yourself into, all the surrounding factors, well, sometimes it might be your fault. For example, if you're pushing down one line all by yourself or with 2 tanks, it is maybe more beneficial to fall back with this tank, go back to the base and hold that flank with the other tank instead of pushing on. Because if you're only 2 guys and the team did actually abandon you for the entire other side just to steamroll them from one side, you should actually look at the minimap and decide on that to fall back. And if you keep on pushing all by yourself and you get overwhelmed by 4 tanks and you die, in the end, you looked at the minimap, you saw where all the tanks went, you had the opportunity to fall back. In that case, well, I think it is partially your fault as well that you actually died on the other side. I think people just need to think about certain decisions before they take that decision into their hand and act upon that decision. Maybe if you think about the things, the outcome, what it will look like, you might have a better chance at winning the game, or just have a better chance at dealing more damage or surviving that actual situation. But I think people are a lot more keen on blaming other people because it's a lot easier to think about the certain situations that you have gotten yourself into and what you did wrong. And I think that's just one of the things that I've noticed, and that is just one of the things that have been bugging me in this game for eternity. In almost every game, every aspect of life, people blaming other people, so annoying. And yeah, so that's all I can say. Let's take a look at the battle statistics, and you'll see why I got really upset afterwards and told the Type 59 that he was not a good player. So obviously, regarding things as moral standards and all that kind of stuff, I am no angel myself. I do things that are not as nice too from time to time. But you can see I dealt 6,439 damage, 91.67% accuracy, and I fired 24 shots. I tried my very best to actually win this game for my team. Got a top gun, most damage in my team, and you can actually take a look at the rest of my team. And I do not want to call them out, but the Waffenträger of Panzer IV came the closest with 2,572 damage. So you cannot say that I did not actually try to do my very best for my team. But what got me really upset is that this Type 59 kept on talking smack and smack and smack and smack, and he just wouldn't shut up with his 625 damage. I know this was a tier 9 match, but that is really, it got me really upset that he was one of those players who kept on complaining, putting you in a bad light for everybody else, and he himself did not even try to actually make this game a win. 322 experience that he actually got, and I was really upset with that. And I actually wrote to him afterwards that he should not, like, I'm just gonna be really honest with you guys, that he should not be complaining with that amount of damage that he dealt, because he was not doing very good himself. I was doing fine, I tried my very best, and he was not giving everything to get that win. In the end, still, I made quite a lot of experience. I used a lot of credits, obviously, for the premium consumable and the ammunition that I had to pay. And I think it was still a very nice game, but just these little factors that keep annoying you are probably one of the things that people are being drawn away from this game. I have noticed that complaining and blaming other people is a thing of nature. It happens everywhere, in every country, every game, every situation in life. But in World of Tanks, it is amazing how fast people are complaining. I have played some Armored Warfare, and I'm not really good in Armored Warfare, although I played a lot of tanks. I'm not really good in War Thunder, although I played a lot of tanks. The people there are not putting me out there as if I'm a huge idiot. But that has mainly to do, I think, with the amount of mod support that this game is actually having. And I think this mod support is actually a benefit and a drawback at the same time, because you have mods like XVM. I myself am using XVM, but when people start drawing all the things from XVM and calling out other people noobs and all that stuff, you see that something is wrong with the community. It's almost you're building up a caste in a game, like you all of a sudden have royalty and all that kind of stuff, and the plebs down there. And I just think that is not the best way to go. Although I myself sometimes react really harshly, especially to that Type 59. I called him a scrub, but that is because of his game. He was really bad, and I complained because he constantly complained. So yeah, I would like to hear your guys' opinion, and I'll try to see reason if you think that I completely reacted, like overreacted in that situation. But I think I did all right. I think I did nothing wrong. That Type 59 was just a really salty and toxic player. So yeah, please tell me what you think, and I'll be making the next video quite soon. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next one, and enjoy your day. Don't be salty, be nice to each other, especially in World of Tanks. And yeah, peace out.